Well, the medical marijuana industry in our state marking a milestone. There are now close to 10,000 patients with medical cannabis cards. Joining us to tell us about that and more, Mississippi Medical Marijuana Association Executive Director Ken Newburger. Ken, you and I were talking the other day, and that's why I wanted to highlight this. How close are we to that 10,000 patient mark?
We actually crested 10,000 middle of this week, so we are just above it.
And does that surprise you? I think last time you were on the show, we were at about 4,900. It doesn't seem like that was long ago, so it seems like that has really accelerated.
It really has. We're a little faster on pace with getting patients than other similar southern states when you look at a percentage of our population. Considerably faster than Arkansas and Louisiana, a little faster than Missouri, and a little faster than Florida as well. So we're looking pretty good at getting that patient count up. A lot of that happened this year because of changes that happened in the program itself.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about that in a second. But first, dispensaries. That's the one to me that still seems a little tricky because cities and counties aren't as progressive as many people would like them to be with zoning and other things. Also, you're working with the Department of Revenue in this case, and they're having to pay a lot of money for licenses. How are we doing with dispensaries, in your opinion?
I think we're doing great. I think we're probably on track with dispensaries. We've got 55 active dispensaries that I know of across the state, with 170 licensed. Some are deciding to open, not to open. They're trying to finish their build outs, but with 55 dispensaries across the state, pretty well dispersed, I think we're in a good spot.
Cultivators. That part of it seems, from what I read and continue to follow, and of course they're very professional in many cases, that seems to be going pretty well. What's your sense regarding that?
I think our cultivation side is exploding. I think we have way more cultivators than a lot of people anticipated, especially on the micro tier, which is small businesses that are completely Mississippi owned with less than 2,000 square feet of space to grow cannabis. That is really, really taken off. I think we have over 80 licensed cultivators in the state.
So you talked about some of the changes to the Medical Cannabis Act. Frankly, I thought the legislature delivered on many fronts. Mandatory drug testing requirements for patients removed, which was huge. What were some of the other reforms that the legislature delivered on this year in your mind?
Well, I think it was almost all patient focused because with the initial bill, it was really set up so that way businesses could get started. So they didn't really touch that as much. They fixed some things with the background checking process for the Department of Health to work with the Department of Public Safety to get those background checks done. But most of what they did were things like what you just said. They removed the mandatory drug test. That's now an option for physicians to require. They also allow physicians to assist in applying for those cards. I think one time I came on and explained the way it works is that you go see a physician or a nurse practitioner or somebody who can certify you, and they write that certification, but then you have to apply as well. And it's a little bit of a process to go online, find the link, and upload all the right files and a picture of yourself. So now practitioners themselves can assist in that application and do it for the patient that they already saw. So that's really a big game.
Yeah, another big one, allowing patients to see a different doctor than the one that originally ordered the patient for their mandatory 6-month follow-up, because that, we love choices, we like options, we like streamlining, and that should help.
It should, and it's a little bit of an oversight that we didn't really think of. You know, what happens if you live in Tupelo and you get certified, and then 4 months later you move down to Ocean Springs, right? I mean, you don't want to drive all the way back to Tupelo for your doctor's visit if you can go see someone closer in Gulfport or Biloxi or something like that. So that's more of what we were thinking about when we talked about making it a different doctor for that follow-up.
All righty, well, let's end this on a note. 22 states have legalized recreational cannabis. I was telling you a story before we came on the air. I was just in New York, and out of curiosity, wandered into a dispensary. They're very progressive on their recreational side. There's so much money to be made. What are the chances? I mean, look in your crystal ball. Is Mississippi ever going to get on that train?
Well, I don't know if I have any insight into my crystal ball. My skin isn't as green to figure that out. But I think that it's getting talked about more and more about whether or not that's something we should do here. But the conversations I have with people are more about we've got to make the program work that we have before we can really talk about, should cannabis be anything else other than for, as of right now, the 10,000 or so patients that need it.
Okay, well, we'll continue to keep an eye on that one. Maybe Congress could lift the federal prohibition on the marijuana, and that would be a good start. Well, it's always good to see you, Ken. Ken Newburger from Mississippi Medical Marijuana Association.
Thanks.
And thanks so much for watching this weekend, everybody. Have a good Sunday, and I'll see you next week.